players, guitar players. This lesson we're going to do a beginner blues lesson. I'm going to show you some beginner blues licks, real simple blues licks you can use. More importantly, I'm going to give you tips on how to play the blues better, some advice, some suggestions. As always, some of you guys might not know this, I always try to break my videos up into chapters. So if you watch them and want to go back and watch a specific thing again, it makes it real easy to scroll or real easy to find the section in the video that you want to see. I know sometimes I talk too much, but anyway, I put those chapters in there, so if you just want to focus in parts that I'm playing, you can do that. I'm going to bring the camera up close to the neck of the guitar so you can see my fingers and show you the licks that I'm playing and give you some tips on how to play the blues better. Some beginner blues licks, some real easy stuff you can take away now and add them to your licks, or just take this advice and use it to express yourself in the way you want to play the blues, which is really what I'm hoping you get out of this. Real quick about this, I want to give out a shout out to this guitar that I'm playing. Some of you guys might have seen in my other videos that I always look at the marketplace for good deals on used gear. I found this Squire Vibe series 70s Squire Classic Vibe 70s model Strat. Man, anybody out there looking to buy a Strat, take a look at this Squire Vibe series, man. These give the Fender made in Mexico Strats a run for their money, 100%. The only thing that I changed on this guitar so far is I went down to the music store and found a different whammy bar to put in here, because I hit on this sometimes. The one that came with it angled up a lot more, and it just made it harder for me to grab because I use my pinky a lot when I use the whammy. Anyway, so yeah, let's get into it, man. So I'm assuming that if you're watching this video that you know what the blues scale is. I'll show it to you real quick in case you don't. But one of the main takeaways from this video is not how to just play better licks from the blues scale. Actually, one of the main takeaways that I want you to get from this video is that, believe it or not, any note can work over the blues. Any note. We're going to be jamming over a 12-bar blues track. I'm going to link the same track in the video description so you can use it to practice. It's one of my backing tracks. We're going to be playing in the key of C. I usually keep my backing tracks like under 4 minutes, like between 3 and 4 minutes. I do that for a couple reasons. One, some of these long backing tracks out there that are like 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes long, sometimes I feel like when I play to those, like after a while I'm just noodling around and playing the same stuff because it's such a long time to jam over it. Where if I have a backing track that's like 3 or 4 minutes, I feel like that's a good amount of time to like craft a solo, like that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Also, I like it because if anybody wants to, if I have a guest over or somebody wants to hear me play the guitar, I like to put in like a 3-minute backing track and play them a little ditty that, I like to have a relatively short backing track to play to, because for most people, like 3 minutes, like that's their attention span with a song. So if I'm performing for somebody, I like to keep the tunes right around that length. So I'm going to give you access to that backing track. And excuse me. And just to review, and just to be clear what I mean about any note works over the blues. And I know this because I read Miles Davis's autobiography many years ago, and he tells a story when he first started hanging out with Charlie Parker, and Charlie Parker was telling him the same thing. He's like, man, you can play any note over the blues. And Miles didn't really believe him, Miles came from like a classically trained background. I think he went to Juilliard. But he was hanging out with Charlie Parker in the blues clubs, and they were listening to a horn player, and Charlie Parker was nudging Miles saying, here, you listen to that? He's playing all the notes. He's playing every note over the blues. And Miles was like, yeah, I guess you're right. So we're going to be playing in the key of C, and like this is a C right here on the B string, first fret. And if I go all the way up to this C, that's every note that exists. I mean, you can move the notes into different octaves, but I'm going from C to C, the whole octave, and every semitone in between. All of those notes can work in the blues. You don't have to stick to just the blues scale. Now, you have to know when to use those notes and how to use them. There's some notes that you don't want to play over certain parts of the progression, and when you're unsure of that, that's when you can fall back on the blues scale, because the blues scale, like all those notes are safe. You can't really go wrong with those notes too much. But if you know what you're doing, every note is fair game. You just got to know when to put them in there. So this solo that I'm going to show you, this beginner level, easy solo that I'm going to show you, or these licks that you can use to make your own solo, are going to cover all of these tones, octave to octave. I mean, I might play some of them in a different octave, but all the notes are there, every single one of them. So that's one of the main takeaways I want you guys to get from this video. Let's get into it. All right, guitar players, I hope you can see the fretboard really well in this close-up that I have. So again, we're going to center around our ideas around the blues scale. Even though I'm going to incorporate every single note there is into these licks over a 12-bar blues progression in C, this is just a standard 1-4-5 blues progression. We're going to center it around the blues scale. So just to review that, starting here, and I'm going to play in the first position. That's like the go-to position that most people are familiar with. It's good to get familiar with all the positions, but again, this is a beginner lesson, so we're going to be in the first position here. And then if I want to play the next note, it'd be the minor third, so C up to the E flat. Okay, so an important tip to become a better musician, a better guitar player, is to know the notes that make up the blues scale. So I'm going to focus on the octave from here, from this C up to this C. I started here down on this C. So that's the 1, the minor third, the 4th, the flat 5th, that's the blue note, okay, the 5th, the dominant 7th, and then back to the 1. The 1 is also referred to as the tonic. Jazz musicians use that word. It's also referred to as the root, okay. Now if I keep going, so 1, minor third, 4, our blue note, the flat 5, and then the 5, dominant 7, 1. Now, I've met a lot of guitar players over the years, played a lot with the guitar players, that they wear it as like a badge of honor, or they think it's cool that they don't understand like this theory or these basic note numbering concepts behind the scales and whatnot. I mean, they think it's good that they think it's cool that they don't really know those things, but they can still play guitar. But the truth is, the really good guitar players that I've played with over the course of my career as a musician, like the really good ones, they all know this stuff, man. They know this stuff better than I do, at least as well as I do. Again, we're going to focus from this C That's the blues scale, right? The first lick I'm going to show you covers the first 4 bars, which is all over the C7 chord, the C dominant 7th chord. Okay, so all I did for those first 4 bars is I just walked down the blues scale, but it was the way I phrase it that makes it sound cool. If I just walk down the scale like this, I mean, it doesn't sound bad, but there's no creativity there. I'm just walking down the scale. So the way I phrased it was something like, so notice I'm sliding down into the blue note. So the blue note's here, it's also here. So and then I'm sliding from the blue note down to the 4. So again, now I'm not saying I played it exactly like that, but I might have. I mean, that's basically what I did. So let's hear what that sounds like over the first 4 bars of the progression again. Right, so that was the first 4 bars of the 12-bar blues in C. Okay, so for the next 2 bars, bars 5 and 6, we go to the F7 chord. Okay, so what did I do over that? Well, I played this lick. And this is where I start to get outside of the blues scale. And I'm going to tell you how, like, the theory behind me getting outside of the blues scale. But don't worry if it doesn't make total sense to you. The way you want to take this information is think of it as like a big connect the dot pictures. I don't know if any of you guys remember those connect the dot pictures as a kid where the dots would be numbered and you would connect them, and after a while you could start to see what was taking shape. Like you didn't have to finish all the dots to see what you were actually drawing. And think of you learning the blues or just learning music theory in general as connect the dots. Like you're getting some dots here and you might connect a few of them, but the whole picture's not going to come into focus right away. It will in time if you just stay at it. So again, if I give you some concepts that don't make total sense, don't stress about it, man. Just get the lick under your fingers and use your ear, and the stuff's going to make sense later, I promise. All right, so we're going to the F dominant 7 for 2 bars. So what I play over the F dominant 7 was I'm starting here on the 9th fret and I'm pulling off to the root note. So I'm starting on what's called the flat 9. This is coming from the C altered dominant scale. Again, don't worry about knowing that scale. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton played this kind of lick all the time. So hitting the 4 chord, it was something like that. So okay, so let's break that down. I'm starting on the flat 9, which is like an embellishment from the altered dominant, kind of gives it a hip sound, and so right there I'm hitting this 5th and walking up This note here is an A, which is the third of the F7 chord. So here's our F dominant 7th chord, the 4 chord. Well, the third of that chord is an A. I'm just playing it up here. And that sounds really good to land on that note when we're on that chord in the progression. So, and walking up to it from the 5th to the sharp 5th to the 6th. So it's the 6th of the 1 chord, but it's the 3rd of the 4 chord. All right, so the lick is. I'll do it one more time. And again, I might have played it a little bit different than this, but this gives you a good lick that you can use and make your own. And some tips here, if you want to be a little more flashy like Stevie Ray Vaughan style, instead of pulling off, trill it. Again, so I'm targeting the A, which is the 3rd of the 4 chord, the 3rd of the F7. It's the 6th of the C major, but of the 4 chord of the C blues, it's the 3rd. Again, don't get confused with this theory. It's a big connect the dot puzzle. Take bits and pieces now. It'll all make sense later. The main thing is that we're targeting that note at the end of that lick. And then after we rest on that for a minute, we walk down the pentatonic and then slide into the major 3rd, because now we're back on the 1 chord, we're back on the C, so I slide into that 3rd and land on the 1, land on the C. Okay, one more time. Okay, so let's hear what that sounds like with the backing track. So we're back on the 1 chord for 2 bars, and didn't really do much there. I mean, you could hit some notes in the blues scale if you wanted to, but it's good to leave space in your solos. It builds up tension with the audience. You know, so many of the great players love that space. So hitting the turnaround, the 5 chord, the G to the G7 to the F7, I think I played. So you could use your pinky if you want. For me, I would use my 3rd finger in that. So I'm just bending this note up slightly. And I think I repeat that. And then right at the very end, I take a page out of the jazz playbook and I hit this altered dominant lick on the 5 chord, which is. And that's how I end the solo. So that's starting right here on the 8th fret, on the 3rd string, and then on the 4th string, the 10th and 9th fret, and then on the 5th string, the 11th and 10th fret, and then I finish on the C, on the 4th string, 10th fret, so all together. with that whole turnaround, again, it's something like. Let's see what that sounds like with the backing track. Okay, so I probably didn't play that exactly like I showed it to you, but that's the point. The point is here to get good ideas, concepts that you can make your own, and to be musical and be creative in your own way. I promise you, man, if you get these concepts where you target the notes that I'm telling you to target and you work on your phrasing, that's what's going to make you a good blues player. Not just learning somebody's licks. That's just going to make you sound like somebody else. It's not going to bring your own voice out. Okay, I'm going to play this again over the turnaround. And again, I'm not a big fan of playing things the exact same way every time, but I think it was more or less like. So I'm mainly using the blues scale. I do hit this note, which is like the second of the C major. This note's also in the Mixolydian scale, which is used a lot over the blues. But so that was, and then I finish it with the page out of the jazz book, that alter dominant over the fifth chord. Sounds real hit to end your solo like that. Alright, so I used every single note from C all the way up to the next C. They might have been in different octaves, but I started the solo out with just walking down the blues scale. Alright, so with that, I covered all the notes in the blues scale, and then when I hit the 4 chord, I introduced 2 new notes, which I didn't play in the first lick, and the notes are this one, the flat 9. No, excuse me, I introduced 3 new notes. The flat 9 to C, which is here on the 9th fret. That's a C sharp, and then I introduce G sharp on the B string here, 9th fret, and then I also introduce the A, which is the 6th over the C scale, C major, but it's the 3rd over the 4 chord, which is F. So again, our F dominant 7 is this chord. Well, there's the A. It's the 3rd of the chord, and here's the A, an octave up higher. So I introduced 3 new notes in that second lick. And I target this because it sounds real good to target that over the 4th chord. And then I finish it off by walking down the pentatonic and then sliding into the 3rd and landing on the 1. The 3rd of the C. And again, if you want to make it flashy, trill that first part of the lick. So what notes are we lacking? What notes have we not played yet? Well, we played this note, 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 this note. We've played them all except for this one. Did we play that at the beginning? No, I don't think we did. And then, and we're also lacking the major seventh, the B. And I end up playing it here an octave down over the turnaround. So those are the last two notes remaining, showing you that every note is fair game. You just got to know when to use it. So how did I use those last two notes? Well, this note here, the D, so the D, I threw it in this lick, starting over the turnaround, right? And then, the last note we haven't played yet, the B, I hit it, taking a page out of the jazz playbook, the alto dominant over the 5 chord with again. So some of those were kind of passing notes, like, but you don't want to land and rest on some of these notes. It would sound bad if I did that. You want to use them as embellishments, okay, to give your blues some character. Look, if you ever lose your confidence, just fall back on the blues scale and stick there until you recenter yourself and gain your confidence back, where you can kind of jump outside of that and go outside the blues scale a little bit. But the blues scale, that's just home base. It's not something to use all the time. It's just something there. It's like your safety blanket. And then you got these other tones that you can throw in to add your style, man. Add some cool phrasing, add some color, add some distinction to your solos. All right. So let me jam over this again just to reinforce it. And I'll probably play it a little different like I always do. But hopefully you get something out of this. If you do, please like this video, man. It helps me so much, guys. Really want to help you be a better player and express your voice, your inside voice, to come out through your guitar, your instrument. Beginner blues stuff, beginner blues licks. Get your blues on. Keep picking, my friends. I believe in you. Please like my video. Thank you.